Yo.
Yo, man. Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, I'm good. Yourself?
Doing good, man. Trying to
Can you see me? Can
get
you
my
hear me?
camera. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. All good. All good.
Okay. Trying to get my other camera to work. It's like cutting in and out, my good camera.
Stimulate your mind, you seek and you will find the kingdom that's inside. Wake up and realize you need nothing that's outside. The blind leading the blind, Pharisees and false scribes. Religion will only bind. When truth is the mystic's mind, one begins to prophesy. Dreams and visions dwell inside, resonate and start to shine. To a place where I reside, ancient ways to space and time. Jacob's ladder I will climb deep into the mystic mind. When truth is the mystic's mind, one begins to shift with new eyes. Take your hatred out on me. Make your victim my head. You never ever believed in me. I am your turn again.
It's midnight. Where I am.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
This should work. Get my good camera. Can you see me now?
No. Still nothing.
You can't see me?
No. Oh, now I can see you. I have you.
I'm ready to go.
Welcome. Pleasure, man.
Good to be here, brother.
Yeah. How are you? How are you keeping?
I'm doing really good.
Right. I try to look to the camera, but I'll have you on multiple
I'm the
screens.
same way. I'm the same way, trying to figure out where to look. I try to get your screen close to my camera so I'm at least looking in that direction.
She's made of hair and bone and little teeth, and things I cannot speak. She comes on like a crippled plaything. Her spine is just a stream. I wrap the love in all this foil, silver tie like spider.
So yeah, tell me, how do you feel about being interviewed, being the star of the show rather than being a host?
Yeah, I like it more. I get to talk about stuff that I love, and people genuinely have questions and want to know or pick my brain about the stuff that I love, whether it's music or spirituality or faith and things like that. So I love talking about it, and there's a lot more that comes out of these kind of interviews and talks than whenever I'm interviewing someone else. Like I try to, share my opinion and get my little stuff in here and there, but it's really focused on the guest. So I like being interviewed more, honestly, for sure.
And I'm happy that I can do it, and I'm so happy that you replied, and I was blown away. I wanted to do like the first part about maybe music and your upbringing, and then go to the spirituality, but I think in your case they entwine, It kind of one goes with another, isn't it?
Well, there was a shift for sure. you know, when I became more conscious and more spiritual, you know, and the type of music that I listened to growing up was different than what I entertain and even create now. So, yeah, but as far as getting into music and genres and stuff like that, like getting started with hip hop, I was into a lot of gangster rap. You know, down south music from New Orleans really was what I was into. Master P and Cash Money and 3 6 Mafia and that kind of stuff with hip hop. But I also have a huge metal influence as well. Metal such as new metal, as some people would call it, but Korn and Marilyn Manson and Cold Chamber and the new metal stuff of the 90s. So I love anything 90s, really. It doesn't even matter the genre, as long as it's from the 90s and it's nostalgic. I love it. So I'm real eclectic when it comes to stylistic, you know, style and genre of music. And I feel like that I pull from those weird genres of metal and some of the things that they put in their music. I try to kind of copy and emulate in the hip hop. Like if you remember like Korn and Cold Chamber and stuff, there's a lot of whispering and echoes, and you know, instead of being really crunk or you know, shouting a rhyming word, I'll whisper it in the background, you know, and it just like creates this etheric in one speaker and going back and forth, and it echoes, and just these layers of music that you can do with just my vocals, you know. So I try to incorporate a lot of the heavy metal influence with their vocal into the hip hop and what I'm doing too.
Nice one, nice one. Let's start from the beginning, because you live in Alabama now, but you come from Louisiana, is it?
Yeah, I was born in Houma, Louisiana. It's close to New Orleans, and so I lived there the majority of my childhood, and started. I eventually traveled back and forth from Alabama to Louisiana for a couple of years, with living on the Indian reservation over here, and my mom traveling back and forth and stuff. And so, but I met a girl over here in Alabama when I was in high school, and it was love at first sight. And I was 14 years old, and we hit it off and got married 3 years after that, after we met, and we've been together ever since, and we're celebrating our 20-year anniversary this year. So
that's amazing, man. That's amazing, because you're actually, I think you're 2 years younger than me, and I'm only being married for 1 year, and you've been married for 20. So that's a big achievement.
I was
man.
17.
Really well
I was
done.
young, man, but
17.
I knew I found the one, and I couldn't let her get away. And
nice one. Well done. Say hello to her, and I think I've seen her in passing with your last interview with the head from the Korn.
Yeah.
What's up? How you doing?
Yeah, she came to say hello.
She came to say hello, yeah.
You're taken to another place. If you seek, you'll find, and then levitate to a higher state. Move past the negativity and let's erase the hate. Embracing whatever will come along as fate awaits. Never let you keep me here in this prison that you built for me. Let it be known that I do not fear, and I won't back down so gracefully. I'm not what they say I am, but a figment of your imagination. Your dogma, your karma, just a product of intoleration. On a search for salvation, your soul's vacant within a facade. So face it, your hatred held sacred is why you believe the lie. The choices that you've made have brought you here to question God. In the darkness you can't see the light that shines right by your side. Excommunicated, now my only friends are spirits. Speak to me when I'm lonely and understand the way that I'm feeling. My sanity say I'm losing, I swear to God the stars are moving. The truth is hidden in plain sight and revealed within the movies. Maybe this sounds foolish, it's cruel, it's the way you do this to demonize human beings and pray that they come to ruins. It's true and it's my desire that fire will burn away your fear. So know that God is loving, there's a reason that it brought you here. Elevate your mind until you're taken to another place. If you seek, you'll find, and then levitate to a higher state. Move past the negativity and let's erase the hate. Embracing whatever will come along as fate awaits. Elevate your mind until you're taken to another place. If you seek, you'll find, and then levitate to a higher state. Move past the negativity and let's erase the hate. Embracing whatever will come along as fate awaits.
So tell me, because like I've never been to United States, and tell me how's life in Louisiana and in Alabama, because they like geographically and climate will be the same. So just tell me how it is. What was the story with crocodiles and alligators, like, or what?
Yeah, all that. You gotta watch out. No, you're definitely, Louisiana is a big fear of alligators for sure. I say fear. Most people have fear. Some people jump on their backs and try to ride them and wrestle them. Like my uncles and family member would get drunk and go try to wrestle alligators. Yeah, and I'm from the woods, man. I'm from the South, and I was born on the bayou. We lived on the bayou, and when I was little, I was actually
sorry. What's bayou? What's bayou?
It's called Bayou Gosh.
Bayou Gosh.
What's the name of it? Bayou Gosh. And if you go on my Instagram, you got to dig a little ways, but it's Instagram and Facebook. But there's a picture of my old house, the house that I was raised in when I was really young, on the bayou, and it looks like a shed, man. When I was a kid, it looked more grandiose in my mind, but we went back to visit it like 20 years later, since I've been living there and been removed or whatever, and it was like a shed, man, and it was just run down. It was just really surreal to go back there because it'd been so long. So, but yeah, alligators and moss hanging in the trees, and growing up on the river, going being pulled on the back of a boat on the inner tube. We hook inner tubes to the back of the boat and go in the rivers, and alligators are out there. And we're scared to fall off of the inner tube because we think the alligators might get us. It's like you're hanging on for dear life in the water. It was so much fun, but I was still definitely afraid of alligators. I respect them enough, you know what I'm saying?
That's wild, man. That's wild.
Yeah.
Would you recommend living in Alabama, for example, rather than in Florida? What would be the pros and cons of living in Alabama?
Florida's nice, man. Florida is nice. So I like where I'm at, though. You know, I like Mobile, but we're close to Florida, right? There's some beautiful beaches that are 2 hours away, and there's beaches. We can really pick what kind of water we want to tap into, whether we want to go to the Gulf or to the Bay, or there's a lot of different beaches that we get to pick to go to, and so we drive a little bit further, go about 2 hours instead of 1 hour. And we get to see some really nice water and some beaches and stuff. So I like where I'm at for sure.
Elevated consciousness, stars speak, I'm in bliss. No coincidence, 11:11 heaven sent. Cognitive dissonance, you were not meant for this. Sitting I reminisce on signs and symbols that I get. Repetitive numbers, cycles, it is vital where the mind goes. Visitation, spark, revival, the rest is left within denial. It is my desire to go within and meet Messiah. Breathe the breath of life and bathe myself in ancient fire. In a holy convocation, talk with God through meditation. In a sacred conversation, DNA gets activated. Don't mean to complicate it, my soul rejuvenated. My life a sacrifice, each day I live is consecrated. The invitation to enter into conversation without creation, a journey into isolation and invocation, downloads of information, evaluation. This trial has been your preparation.
Let's go to your music. How that all started for you, like, where you got it from, the passion for music? Is it from your parents or from your colleagues, or what's the story there?
Yeah, I have to shout out my older brother, really. So back in the 90s, I don't know if you guys remember if you had this, but there was these like CD catalogs where you can buy a CD. You could buy one CD or get 10 CDs for a penny. And a lot of times you just put them, you get the card and you fill it out and you mail it to them, and they'll send you like 10 or 20 CDs for free. You know, but you're supposed to say that you're going to buy, 5 CDs or whatever, but people never do that. So you just kind of send it in and get all your free CDs back in the 90s. So my brother had a huge library because he would keep like using different names and get all these CDs sent to the house. So he had everything. Like he had Red Hot Chili Peppers, Metallica, and I fell in love with his music. Like Ugly Kid Joe back in the day, 9 Inch Nails and Stone Temple Pilots, and just have a really beautiful memories of playing a lot of video games with my brother, and we'd always have music on in the background, and so I'd learn the songs because he'd play them over and over and over, and so I would learn a lot of music from him early on back in the day, and just tearing up his catalog and taking CDs from him and borrowing CDs and that kind of thing. So my brother really, I think my love for music came from him for sure.
So he was the influencer. behind
Yeah.
behind
He had it
TruthSeekah.
all, man, for sure. But like I said, I lot of rock influence and hip hop too, early on. So I was listening to a lot of different types of music and got into the gangster rap New Orleans flavor. I love the culture and just the sound that came from New Orleans in the 90s. And I would do little things like to try to start rapping as a little kid, just messing around. Like sometimes you would get tapes that had, if it was a single, it would have the song on it. It would have a radio version, a remix, and the instrumental. And so I would like learn the song and then try to rap that song over the instrumental. And I would practice like that, just rapping other people's stuff. And then I've heard other people talk about this too, like kind of like just messing around with friends, having rap battles and showing how good you were, but we'd rap other people's stuff. And for me, like when I would leave New Orleans and come to Alabama with my family, my cousins and stuff, I would rap for them, but I would rap for them music that they never heard from New Orleans. And this was like Juvenile and Cash Money stuff before they blew up. Like when Cash Money was just getting started underground, I knew all their stuff. And I'd come to school in Alabama and I'd be rapping all these verses and most people thought I wrote it and they never heard it. And then it was funny to see like when Cash Money blew up, and it's like, yeah, I've been trying to tell y'all about Cash Money. And now they're like worldwide, Lil Wayne and Juvenile and that kind of stuff. So I would rap their stuff to get, I guess, to learn cadence and be good with, with just rapping. And then, I would try to write stuff over other people's instrumentals. And this is just as a little kid, man, just messing around for fun and just being in love with it. And I started doing music, like probably 2003. Started about 2003, getting into bands and stuff. And this was later in life, in my 20s, and joined a Christian hip hop group and started rapping with them. And then I would go back and forth and join in Christian metal bands, and I would play bass and I would sing and do screamo and stuff like that. And I would rap in bands that were like Limp Bizkit and Korn style. And but yeah, I'm real big into mixing, the genre.
So yeah, that was my next question. Like, do you play instruments, and how did you start the not rapping but the music side of things? How did you start producing or making music? Do you play live instruments or?
Yeah, I was in a hardcore band, and I learned enough to play in the band, and the guitarist would teach me stuff, and I would play bass, and most of the time I would just follow him. And I learned to just kind of see what he was doing, see what frets he was on. And I learned tabs, which was like 1 2 1 7 6 1 2 1 7 6 5. It's like, so in my head it's like math, dum 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 dum, and you just kind of line it up with the rhythm and stuff. So as far as studying music or being really good at it, I just kind of learned to follow the guitar. So when you're playing hardcore or metal music, you can do that. You can do that with any music really, but I learned enough to start playing shows and doing a lot of gigs. And we was in a really big hardcore scene here, underground music, playing at bars, churches, house shows, like anywhere we could play really. And so I love that, still love it. I miss it so much, but so that's what kind of got me into music again. So playing in bands, as far as the instruments are concerned, I'm not really good. I can just mess around with instruments, I would say. But with my vocals now, that's the instrument that I use. So I like to, I guess, be the center of attention as well. So just being a front man and being a vocalist, you're the front man. You control the energy, you control what's being said and stuff like that. So I joined some rap metal bands. We was in a band called Prayers Fly Like Bullets, and there's actually, it's hard to find, but you can find some stuff online of like their earlier versions of songs that I released under TruthSeekah, but they were metal versions. So there's a couple of those that are out there for those who really dig. You might be able to find it, but it's hard to keep a band together. It's hard to play with a bunch of people, and I can work and perform at my own leisure with doing my solo stuff. So just focusing on the rap stuff, and it started to kind of take off for me as a Christian rapper. and you know, I would be able to keep all the money if somebody booked us to come, you know, perform. I'd be able to keep the money instead of splitting it with six guys. You know, $500 split 6 ways. You know, it's like $75, but $500 for me, $500. You know, and so I can do something with it. So there was a lot of reasons why I stuck with doing the solo thing. And even though it was so much more fun to be a part of a group, it's just hard to do it. People making excuses not to go to practice. People making excuses why they can't do a show or something like that. So yeah, so I just work at my own pace, and I'm a workaholic, you know, and writing songs myself and producing them and stuff. So that's how I got started back in around those same time, 2003, 4, 5. Released my first album, my album, in 2006 called Fight Music, and it was a Christian rap album because I was rapping in churches about Jesus and my relationship with God and that kind of thing. So very much religious church rap music. So
To a place where the stars aligned. I look behind the veil and touch the divine. The 7 stars, they shine in the hand of the Son of Man. In the night sky so fly. Now we redeem the time with our eyes closed. Suppose he knows he will show the secrets hidden within the cosmos. So close, yet so far. What I saw, what I seen in a dream, in a trance when I glanced at the King so supreme. Revelations 1 and 16 speaks of the stars we call the Pleiades. So we breathe and take flight. Vehicles made of light. Inhale the breath of life, hold it in and ignite. So despite what you've heard and never mind what you've seen on this earth, it's not real, it's like the Matrix, a dream. We'll be perfectly dwell together in unity. What we do in this life will carry out in eternity.
On your site, it says that you have 200 songs, but I looked up on last.com or something like that.
Last FM, yeah.
Yeah, Last FM. It says 400.
Wow.
Like 398, if I remember correctly. Like, you know, so
wow.
that
I would have to look at them and see, because I try to keep up with it, but there's so many that features I forgot about and stuff that I've done. So I don't know the exact number. That's why I just say over 200, because I just know it's over. But I don't think it's that number. Somebody has to be giving me credit for somebody else's work, because I don't think I have that many. I might, but I don't think I do.
TruthSeekahMusic.com, the lost children of Babylon. Yeah. Let's get it. Take a look into my mind, see what it's like behind the veil. Living within this dream state, living this life without a care. Frequencies from outer space, frequently when I'm aware. Peep the scene of a mental case when I'm hearing voices, no one's there. Drifting into the dream state, where I receive my knowledge. The knowledge that God is dropping, that's whispered in the ears of prophets and scholars. Be trying to knock it, they hate it, but they can't stop it. They knock it, but they can't block it. They mock it, but they be jocking high. Synchronistic prophetic visions, they're speaking rhythms. Intuition, receiving visions of cataclysms. Thoughts and cryptic, apocalyptic, my pen is scripted. Modern misfits and modern mystics define physics. Kudos to those who chose to walk a spiritual path. We bucking the system and building the kingdom. The first they shall be the last. Can you grasp mystic rituals, keepers of the craft? While we glance at the hourglass, prophecies will pass through the phases while the earth is going through changes. Give me the knowledge of the ages and the wisdom of the sages. The truth is contagious. The government, they funding dark mages, leaders forsake us, and so we cause a ruckus, flipping tables. Megaliths and monuments, meditating, finding bliss. Hieroglyphs and manuscripts, wisdom that's been tampered with. Talisman and amulets, guarding what's been heaven sent. Emerald tablets, sacred texts, deciphering the counterfeits. In the temple, time is spent, keeping of the sacraments, conquering the elements, lower level banishments. Travel through the ancient land when Babylon was I ran. Choppers chopping through the air to making sure that nothing stands. Wisdom and knowledge that you won't find in no college. So buy your knee and pay homage, and we will stand on the promises. On your churches are obelisks, superstitious like Kabbalists. See my people in bondage, just simple-minded, no common sense.
And as you talked about collaborations, what was the most memorable?
Memorable, yeah.
Memorable.
Collaborations. I would say the most memorable ones were the first ones I did with LCOB, just because like how much their music kind of meant to me of having a spiritual awakening. And so when I first got their vocals back, you know, of like, oh wow, this is real. Like I sent and it's beautiful stuff, and my heart was really in it. Like, you know, that was fun. You know, just the feeling of getting those vocals back and ready to mix them and ready to, I remember lining them up, and because I do all my own stuff, you know. And so, you know, Rasul Allah, you know, getting his vocals back, Cosmic Crusader, Sixth Sense, Illuminati Congo, Beast 1333, Tahuti Most, like the Cypher, everybody on those first couple albums, man, those first ones, it really meant a lot. Now, if we get them on songs today, it's different. It's a different feeling. I've been in it for a long time. I'm friends with those guys. You know, there's different things that come into play now. But the most, you know, ones that mean a lot to me was those early on, because they were so fresh. And Illuminati Congo, you know, every time I work with him, his verses blow my mind every time.
I know my inner climate. No one can confine it. I open to alignment from my emotional guidance. I flow and go inside. My body, soul, and mind. What binds I override. Let emotion be my guide.
So I always shout him out as much as I can. I love that brother. Everything about him, his artwork, his spirituality, his comedic sense of humor. So I really like working with him. Another guy, Loke Saint. I'm doing a lot of stuff with Loke Saint now, and he's just as good.
But just relating what I've seen myself. This world is Hades, take it from me, follow me on my trail. When I was a kid, this life was supposed to be success, no fail. For the happy days and peace and love, that's just a fairy tale.
You know, especially when he does the spiritual stuff with me. I don't think that we've done a song, especially on my project, I would say that wasn't like top notch, and it's like one that is a fan favorite, and we complement each other on cadence and, you know, stylistically, and even the content wise, him being able to step it up and get on my level and approach the spiritual realm from a Christian mystic perspective and an angelic perspective, and we can really just go in deep and edify each other and edify the audience through these really deep experiences that we've had and studies that we've done as well to put it out there. So I really like working with Loke Saint also. But there's a bunch of people, man. I can't sell anyone short. You know, Influence is a good friend of mine. Watchmen, Stephen Cook, The Voice. Like, there's a lot of people that I've worked with over the years that are amazing. So.
As the sun sets over the pyramids of Egypt, the face of the great Sphinx opens the entrance to the halls of Amenti. Tahuti greets me, my soul enters the solar bowl. Spiritual force is swimming through the netherworld. Hieroglyphic text matches ancient writings of the Mayans and Aztecs. I manipulate the weather like the Hall Project. Vibrational sounds project etheric light. Concepts of Anunnaki insight for Kemetic priests surround the sacred temple of thieves. Like Muslims pray to the east, I was mummified within a golden fleece, and then my soul unleashed throughout the universe to solve the mystery of the mysterium. New Wapian shamanism, mysticism, behold ancient wisdom that takes you to another level of comprehension. Another level of comprehension. The Messiah lives inside. Journey with the prophets as we take it to the other side. Kick it with the mystics as we travel through the Merkabah. Ancient forms of magic that is hidden within Kabbalah. The Messiah lives inside. Journey with the prophets as we take it to the other side. Kick it with the mystics as we travel through the Merkabah. Ancient forms of magic that is hidden within Kabbalah. As I sit in the lotus posture, and I chant the yogi's mantra, sacred sound at a high top, open a heart chakra. My spirit self will prosper, my flesh let death and conquer. The ego within, let the journey begin to see through the veil of Maya.
Can you tell me from the side of producing, what do you use? Do you use DAWs or do you use machines like MPC, keyboards, or what do you use?
So yeah, I mess around with beat making. I've never rapped over one of my beats though. I usually just lease my beats, so I work with other producers for the beats. But as far as what I do is more of just the engineering on my end. So I use DAWs for that, and so my main thing has just been sticking with Adobe Audition. I've got friends that have they've installed it on my computer and tried to teach me and stuff to step up the Pro Tools, but I'm just comfortable with what I have, you know, and it's hard to take that next step because I'm real comfortable with it. And so, but when I do make beats, just, you know, I use Fruity Loops and just a small MIDI controller.
And what about mastering? Do you try to master, or do you send them off to someone? I'm just asking because, like, you know, for me personally, it's interesting.
Yeah, I do my own mastering for other people too, for sure. And thanks for asking these questions. I like, you know, switching it up. I do my own mastering. Really, I use and there's many reasons for that, but I use Isotope Ozone 4, which is just got a bunch of amazing presets in it that you find what resonates with your beat and your vocal style. I've worked with a lot of people mastering, and I don't like what I get back. Like I've sent people my mixes. I try to get my mix the best I can, get a really good mix, to where early on I wasn't even mastering, because I just had a really good mix and I'm like, listen, that's it, we're gonna keep the mix, until I really started working with and seeing what a master can do. But I would send my stuff off to people, and the little thing in just like the whispers and the echoes and stuff that I hide in the music, I would send them to master, and they would put a plug-in on it, and it would turn up stuff that is supposed to be hidden, like stuff that's supposed to be in the background, were now like really loud S's, and like bringing it to the forefront, and I'm like, oh, that's supposed to be hidden, and that kind of sounds like it's fighting the main vocal. You know, and I never got a good master back from a lot of different people that I've worked with, and I'm so picky about it that I just get a really good mix, and then we just umph it up a little bit with a master, you know.
Nice one. You know, to me it's all interesting. Like, so yeah, I can't ask you what's your favorite song when you have 400 songs, like, you know.
I know, right? It's hard because I start forgetting about songs, and I remember, I'm like, oh, that's a really good song.
Yeah.
Well, what's one of your favorite songs, or some of your favorite songs, and maybe I can give you some background info on some of them.
My Kundalini vibrates like a rattlesnake. That's just, you know, it's savage, like, you know, all of them. And it's not like
that was one of the first ones. Yeah, that was as far as like starting to rap conscious and the spiritual stuff from the Christian religious stuff. A couple songs. I want to say the first one was, I want to say it was Cosmatica.
In my hand and some scrolls that I'm holding, a mystical experience just like Joe Rogan. I'm chilling with Ethereans and a light that is golden. They say they are the Syrians with love and devotion. Sparring with the devil, I'ma put them in a chokehold. Fighting with the devil, we gon' battle in the dojo. Raising my vibration through Kundalini yoga. Building out my chi, I feel it rise like a cobra. Sitting in a posture that's shaped like a lotus. Clearing out my mind and my mental is focused. My eye is single, pineal is open. Herbs and spices, incense smoking.
It was a mixture. It was either Cosmatica or Enigma, which Enigma with 6 cents on it.
I look to the sky where my help coming from. Elohim be my guide till his kingdom come. Let y'all be glorified and let his will be done. On earth as in heaven, as above so below. Now there's a place called heaven and I really wanna go. We all some lost souls just trying to make it home. So pray for me while I'm here. Remember me when I'm gone. So pray for me while I'm here. Remember me when I'm gone.
And then and I sent that song Enigma to Cosmic Crusader, and I said, hey man, I've been a Christian rapper, and I'm starting to step into the conscious realm and spiritual hip hop, and here's one of my first songs, and I'd love to work with LCOB and work with you guys and put my album out under you, if you know, and I'd love to get you featured on a song. And he's hit me back, yes, like he loved it, fell in love with it. He said, you can put the LCOB stamp on it, we want to distribute it and put it out there to our fan base and stuff. And so I started working with them after that. And so I would say the third or fourth conscious song would be that one. Out of that whole you know genre catalog and stuff, would be the one with Cosmic Crusader, Enter the Stargate. Enter the Stargate through the dream state when I meditate, I elevate. Yeah.
Elevate and accelerate. I resonate to a place as I concentrate and feel my Kundalini vibrate like a rattlesnake. I enter the Stargate through the dream state. When I meditate, I elevate and accelerate. I resonate to a place as I concentrate and feel my Kundalini vibrate like a rattlesnake.
No, I can't say which one is it, because really, like, you are you are a folder on my PC, right? And I just play the whole songs, and basically every song is savage, like, you know.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Like the whole album is like an experience of what I was going through and what I was learning, and epiphanies and like deep meditation and, you know, crazy out of this world stuff, man.
The lyrics, like, you know, people rapping about titties and cars, you know, and then you come along, and it's just like, whoa, totally different level, like, you know, totally different level. So when is the new album coming out?
Very soon. We're almost done with it. I think I've got a couple people that I might want to get on it. So in my mind, I'm pretty much done with it, but I've got some friends that I kind of want to just have their name on the album. So it's like, you know what, I may reach out and grab 2 or 3 more tracks, but maybe not. I don't know. It may be done. I've got a couple songs that are done that I got of just some tweaks on, getting some, I got to re-record a song, you know, I do a better take on it, but for the most part, it's almost done. And so could be 3 months from now. 3 months from now, we could have the next project.
Nice one. Come on, I'm talking to TruthSeekah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
And the title of it's going to be White Magic.
White Magic.
Spiritual hip hop.
Hypnotic Gnostics, researching the records of Akashic in the temple. I'ma lay prostrate like the mystics, seers and the prophets. Christian mysticism, practice biblical cryptic wisdom, cosmic universalism that transcends and elevates past your schism. Ecstatic intoxication, receiving the outformation, offering prayers and supplication. The spirit is guiding my sanctification. Hebrews 6, I'm leaving the basics, staring at clouds and counting the spaceships. Body goes numb, it's a great sensation. I'm raptured up to the heavenly places. The energy, it enters me. I vibrate at a high rate of frequency, eliminate all the doubt and the unbelief. From within, I'm transform mentally. Palms on the ground, fall to my knees, and I begin to sweat and feel the heat increase. Life in the tongue power when I speak. I feel it move from my head down to my feet, and I'm ascending the ladder. The weight of your glory I never did fathom. When we're alone in the zone, I feel like I'm surrounded by light, and there's nothing that matters. Interdimensional beings, rebuking the demons that fleeing. Shamans and prophets believe in a realm that is so far beyond that of which we are seeing.
I want to say a huge thank you to everybody supporting my work via Patreon. This is a listener-supported, listener-funded show. Doesn't exist without your help. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for believing in the work and helping me bring this to the masses, and you guys being co-creators with this beautiful and great work, man. It really means a lot to me. If you'd like to support, go to patreon.com/TruthSeekah. There you get access to my entire discography of music, behind the scenes stuff, all that cool stuff, Thursday Night School of the Mystics, and a bunch of other cool stuff. I will say this, every time I get done with a song, I immediately upload it to Patreon months before it's available to the general public. So you get to hear stuff that's, in this case, has been out probably a year, but nobody's heard it unless you're a patron. So you get access to that stuff. And what I do with Patreon when I get ready for an album, once all of those songs kind of stack up and they formulate an album, I release the album, and then it becomes available to the general public. But what I do is I take the names from all of the people who have been patrons, and your name will forever be in the artwork of the album. So if you want to have your name in the artwork, on the inside credits and the thank yous and all of that kind of stuff, make sure that you become a patron at any level of giving, and your name will be in the printed version of the CD when it comes out here within the next 2 or 3 months. So I'm almost done with my next project entitled White Magic. So if you want to get in on that and have your name in the album, make sure you become a patron at any level of giving, and you get access to the stuff that's already there anyway. So check that out.
I enter the stargate through the dream state. When I meditate, I elevate and accelerate. I resonate to a place as I concentrate and feel my kundalini vibrate like a rattlesnake. I enter the stargate through the dream state. When I meditate, I elevate and accelerate. I resonate to a place as I concentrate and feel my kundalini vibrate like a rattlesnake.
I see Ralf. Congratulations, Ralf, on your child, man. That's so awesome, bro. And for those who haven't seen, I will say, if you go to YouTube and let's type in TruthSeekah and then type in Ralf Moss, because he did a really good job. TruthSeekah, Ralf Moss, there it is. He did a interview with me, where everything that we talk about in the interview, he went and actually showed clips and pictures and all of that, and it was just done really good. So go to his channel, type in TruthSeekah and then Ralf Moss, and blow his channel up, send him some traffic. He did an amazing job with this and deserves way more views. So a lot of gangster rap, you know, down south music from New Orleans really was what I was into. Master P and Cash Money and 3 6 Mafia and that kind of stuff with hip hop. But the album also have a huge metal influence as well. Metal such as new metal, as some people would call it, but Korn and Marilyn Manson and Cold Chamber and the new metal stuff of the 90s. So he did an amazing job with that editing. You guys got to go watch that interview. Type in Ralf Moss and TruthSeekah and you'll find it. Ralf Moss, TruthSeekah. Go send him some traffic. And he did a really good job on it. I was impressed. Really good. It was fun. I love being interviewed. He asked really good questions too, and it wasn't just the normal stuff you hear about your story. Like, he wanted like details, so that was really fun. That I got to kind of expound on stuff that most people don't really ask me or stuff. So I really enjoyed his interview. So yeah, again, Ralf Moss. 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 Are you interested in the supernatural and metaphysical? Well, you've come to the right place. When I came back to the Lord in 2000, after shutting doors to witchcraft and Satanism, immediately I found healing in so many areas and my life transformed 100%. But there were some things that lingered. There were some things that I had to walk out of. There was some deliverance that I simply had to walk out.
I already kind of read, and what I know that you've been possessed by the demon. Tell me from your experience how that looked, because like I'm a fan of horror movies, and like if the horror, not the slashers, but the horror movie that says based on true story, you know, to me that's the best. So tell me from your side, because like I never met anyone who claimed to be possessed.
There's a new program at the Vatican designed to reteach the clergy the rite of exorcism.
Wait a minute, you want me to be an exorcist?
2 months in Rome. How bad could that be?
So I was, you know, I was interested because of those movies. You know, they really plant a seed in you, and I feel like open up doors, a lot of negative, lower level stuff, but then magic or the spirituality and spirit realm. And I was a misguided teen, misguided youth when I was getting it. Like, I was drinking and doing drugs, and we were robbing people and getting in gang fights and just, you know, misguided teen. And then I was getting into the occult, and I was mixing magic and mixing, trying to put curses on people and hexes and trying to, you know, I was trying to contact entities.
This was taken at an exorcism in Turin. This man's jaw spontaneously dislocated while being read the Lord's Prayer.
And I wanted them to be real. And I had been a Christian a couple years before. So in 1998, I gave my life to God at a prayer meeting, and it was a really beautiful experience. But and I started going to church and stuff, but it didn't last long. It only lasted a couple months. And I got around people who were into a lot of dark stuff and drugs and stuff, and so I just went even deeper into it. And then when I did, that's when I got really deep into the occult, and we started I knew the spirit world was real, but I didn't want Christianity. But I didn't want Christianity. I wanted something, you know, deeper. I wanted to be able to have my cake and eat it too. So party, drugs, acid, whatever it was. But I still was interested in the occult, and I ended up meeting a warlock, a witch, and he was an older dude, but he was like, he lived it, like it was real, and he would just tell us all these stories, man.
Tell me, Michael, do you believe in sin?
Yes, I just don't believe the devil makes us do it.
I recommend you pay a visit to an old friend of mine.
And he was, you know, summoning demons and working with demons, and they would wake him up in the middle of the night, and they would come into his dreams, and they would be in his room, and he'd just...
Buongiorno. You're the American?
Yeah.
Don't like cats?
Not particularly.
Welcome to Rome. It's infested with cats.
he was the real deal. And so there was just a lot of stuff with that, but I just started studying, and I would ask him about books and recommendations. So I would do a whole bunch of stuff, read a whole bunch of different books, Necronomicon, like just a lot of Wiccan stuff, mixing stuff together, Satanic Bible, and in all those books there's incantations, and there's things that you do and rituals to contact, the dead, or to contact beings on the other side. And so I felt like I was doing all of these rituals. I would empty my mind and ask for these, beings to come in and, do meditations to say hello to them and stuff like that, and invite them into my house and hope. I guess in my mind, I thought they would show up in physical form.
Do you know why Father Lucas is famous? He's done over 1,000 exorcisms.
And, but it didn't really happen. Nothing really worked until they all worked at the same time.
What do you believe?
That's not the devil.
Does a thief or a burglar turn on the lights when he's robbing your house? No. He prefers you to believe that he's not there, like the devil.
It gets complicated when no proof of the devil is somehow proof of the devil.
So you're looking at, let's say, we could say a year of doing a bunch of, magic and stuff like that, and seances and Ouija boards and tarot and all that kind of stuff, just opening up the door on top of a lifestyle of drugs, debauchery, rob you, you know what I'm saying, lie to you, cheat, stealing, all that. And then I felt like I reached in to touch the other side, and eventually something touched back.
She's choking.
You're still not convinced.
She doesn't need a priest. She needs a shrink.
Something grabbed me. Just one day, out of the blue, I would be sitting on the couch watching television, and I'd be sucked into a trance during the day, watching TV. I'm in a trance. I turn pale. My skin turns pale, white. I can't breathe, and I'm just staring in a daze. And I see colors. I see shapes, spirits. They're in my ear. They're flying, triangles, just weird geometry, and they're all talking to me at one time. And they're speaking foreign languages, and I can't breathe, and my heart's racing. No drugs, no nothing. Just pulled in this weird portal. And I'm hearing voices and whispers and stuff, and I come back, and I catch my breath, and my girlfriend's on the couch like, "You okay?" I was like, I don't know what happened. And it just started happening 2, 3, 4 times. I was like, hold on, this isn't fun, man. I can't make out what they're saying. I'm not lucid. It was just really, really scary. And they would pull me in at will, and I couldn't control it. So, but then it started to go deeper, like in my head, just like telling me lies and stuff. There was like a lot of, I've dealt with this weird spirit of hypochondria, where I would be watching television, and I would turn the channel, and it would be somebody getting rushed to the emergency room because they had, one of our member, he had testicular cancer, dude on the show. And when they said that, when I seen it, it was in my head. You got testicular cancer. And it wasn't just like a thought, because we all have those thoughts. What if? But it was a thought that I believed it down to my core instantly, and I couldn't get it out my head. And it was just overwhelming, like fear and dread that I had these sicknesses and stuff. And man, I couldn't look people in the face, because I've been hearing voices during the day. And like when I would look at people, and demons would look at me through their eyes, and everybody's looking at me, and they're like, they know that I'm possessed. It was just insane. It was insanity. And I was 16, I was young. And but I had been a Christian a few years before,
Early signs of a possession are subtle. Social withdrawal, a persistent tremor in a limb.
And so I knew that the only thing that could help me was to call out to God and ask for forgiveness for all the stuff that I was doing, trying to work with these demons, and trying to open up portals, and lying, cheating, stealing, all of that stuff, the drug use, the alcohol. I needed to get my life right.
Michael, what's happening to me?
If Lucas couldn't defeat it, how can I?
Michael! And so that was 20 years ago as well. 21 years ago, September 7th of 2000, that I had a bad night. I was coughing up blood, seeing shadows run through the house, hearing footsteps in the kitchen, weird stuff. And told my girlfriend, I said, hey, I gotta get my life right. Like, knew about this peace that I have found in Christ and in the church, and how beautiful it was. And there is a version of me that existed once before that wasn't mad, that wasn't hearing voices. And if I was to go to the doctor, they're going to put me on medication and put me in a straitjacket if I tell them that demons suck me in a portals at their will.
Michael, close the door, please. We don't want to be disturbed, do we?
And also I woke up the next morning and I just threw everything away. Everything that we had, all of the posters and the music and all the, you know, statues of gods and stuff like that we had, and ritualistic stuff that we did. Got rid of it all. Took it, and even the clothing, t-shirts and all that, threw it all away. And it ended up going to a pawn shop. Some of the stuff we could sell, we pawned some CDs, sold some of the books, because I would steal. It's so funny, I would steal witchcraft books and try to do rituals in it. And if you know anything about energy and juju, you stole that book. You didn't pay for it. You didn't give an exchange, and then you try to do rituals out of something that you stole and you ripped off somebody. And so just all the way around, it was a bad concoction for me. And but yeah, I went through that, and I came out the other side. I asked for help, and God opened up a phone book and started calling all these churches, called like 15, 16, 17 churches, left messages. Hey, I feel like I got a demon. I need help. Only one church called me back. And the pastor ended up coming to our house and praying with us, and ended up picking us up, bringing us to church and things like that, going to Bible study, and that changed my life, and you know, closed those doors to that type of lifestyle. Eventually, I think God has a way of bringing everything full circle and kind of showing you the right way to engage and the right way to work with angels, or even a right way to view demons and things like that, versus like, hey, I'm open, come jump in my body. Hell no. There's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. And so I had to learn the hard way, and I'm blessed and thankful that I made it out, because not everybody gets to. Some people end up in psychiatric wards. Some people take their own life because they're hearing voices. Those voices eventually tell you to do it. Go ahead and do it. Get the gun. Get the gun, man. Get it. I'll shut up if you get the gun. You know what I'm saying? Dude, I'm lucky that I made it out, and I'm able to tell my story and to encourage people who are in that kind of stuff, you know. And that's why I'm open about my story, and the beauty of spirituality, and the beauty that God has for each and every one of us in our lives to experience. This world is amazing, and this incarnation that we have here. And I just want to encourage people with my music and with my books and with my writings and with my stories. So when it comes to demon possession, you know, for me, that's what it looked like. You ever seen the movie? You mentioned horror movies and stuff. Do you ever see Stir of Echoes?
What the hell was that?
No.
Okay.
Not,
so in the
not
90s,
that I remember.
Kevin Bacon was in a movie called Stir of Echoes, and it was like he would go into a trance, and a ghost would try to, when he was in that trance, this ghost would come and teach him. It was a ghost of somebody who died in a house.
Critics hailed Stir of Echoes as so creepy you forget to breathe.
And it was trying to lead him to where she died or whatever. But when he was in that trance, it was very similar to what happened to me, was that he went pale, and the room got really cold, and he turned pale, and he was just in a trance, and it was very similar to what happened to me, like in these movies. And so, you know,
Echoes will stir your nightmares into a frenzy. It's rivetingly haunting.
What the hell did she do to me? He's a receiver now.
All of these movies have at least a little bit of truth in them, man. Maybe a lot of stuff is made up or fabricated, or they, you know, sensationalize a lot of it. But there's a lot of interesting stuff in that movie, and it could be, maybe, you know, the TVs are portals, man. Stuff comes through the television. There could be some realm where I seen that and invited into my life, much like the hypochondria of seeing the testicular cancer and hearing that, and I believed I had it, and then I seen what was going on in this person.
He can't stop it. He can't slow it down. He can't even figure it out.
And then it was similar to me, and and I created it in my mind and it became real. I don't know, but I do know that I was going insane, and I scarcely made it out.
Whatever door you open, I want you to shut it.
Follow one ordinary man on an extraordinary journey into a haunting world of mystery.
Like there is so many people hypnotized now by the telly, and there's a theory that actually the TVs are sucking the energy out of us. All those electrical devices, like they just feeding something out there, like, you know. How do you just go outside and look at everyone is just scrolling, like scrolling, like, you know. And
like, what are you looking for? You don't even know. You just scroll.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same. Like that's what I do all day long. Like, you know.
Me too. And I try to be. Well, you got to be conscious of it. I mean, it's who we are. It's where we're going now. But we have to learn, you know, moderation and respect and social skills and all of that. You know, when we get bored of somebody quits talking mid-sentence, we pick up our phone and see if there's any alerts, you know, on Facebook or something.
I was in a community of indigenous people, a community where no roads, people travel in canoes along the river, that had just gotten the internet 10 years ago. And had just gotten cell phones at the same time. So it was boom, here you go. And there's no moderation. It's just.
The technology, it has a bad side, but on the other hand, it has a good side, you know. So you know, we can talk, you know. You're in Alabama, I'm in Ireland, you know, which is fantastic, like, you know. But on the other side, we are controlled by it, you know. There's some things that we cannot discuss. We just can't, you know. So it's very bizarre. It's bizarre, man, bizarre. But how actually maybe you can give me a few pointers from your experience on the podcast you do. And to be frank with you, sorry, I'm gonna ramble for a little while. To be frank with you, I just knew your music and I knew your music channel, and only when I invite you to the podcast and you said yes, I started doing a little bit more research and I discovered your second channel, and I was like, damn, how that escaped from me. But basically, maybe if I would knew it before, we wouldn't be talking today, because it's so good that it would fill up my hunger for good show, for good entertainment. So maybe we wouldn't be talking today, like, you know, because I would be just listening to you, and then my needs would be fulfilled, like, you know. And I started this show because, like, I've seen a bit of space, that, you know, I've seen a bit of lag. There is a leak project that's really good, and I've been a fan of Coast to Coast AM for ages. About a year ago they changed something. You can only apply to be an insider. You have to be in States or in Canada. You have to have an address. So I'm no longer subscribed with them, you know. So that was like a void for me. That okay, I had a leak project and nothing really more. So, you know.
Okay, hey, Rex Bear Leak Project, how the heck are you? Thank you for joining us this edition. I'd like to share with you an ancient Gnostic text. It's about 2,000 years old.
So I
nice.
Create
I got 400
channel.
episodes, man, and you seen the one I did with. I get some interesting guests, man, you know.
That's what I wanted to say. Ask you who was your and again we cannot downgrade someone, like, you know, but who was the most memorable guest that you had? And maybe again, can you give me some few pointers how you deal with that, how you focus on asking the right questions and how you do the research and all that?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I got a lot of good shows, and again, 400. There's some that you forget about. There's something in every conversation, for sure. You know, there's a gem, there's an afterthought, there's something good in every conversation. But I've been able to talk to some people that I like and that I resonate with, and then I've been able to talk to strangers that I build a relationship with through this podcast, and it's the first time we've ever talked, and now we're friends now, you know. So there's a lot of those, but as of now, I don't know if you call him the biggest, maybe the biggest, but for me, I just really resonate with his work and what he does. I mean, I think it's obvious to go without saying, Head from Corn.
Your podcast over the years, I've hung out with you in your city, and love your family. And it's good to be on with you finally.
Just that whole conversation. I love him. He's a brother. He's a friend, and I just love his relationship with God and how real and genuine and authentic he is. And we need more of that. You know what I'm saying? So if it was up to me, I'd interview him every day. We'd have a conversation every day. So that's one of my favorites. And we just did that. That was episode number 400, Brian Headwelch of Korn. But all of them, like Jordan Maxwell, Santos Bonacci, those are bigger names, bigger shows. Dr. Michael Heiser, Trisha McCannon. Again, those are early shows. When I first started my podcast, like those are the names I went after. I need you. I need to talk to you. And when I say where it comes full circle is that when you listen to Coast, now that you have a podcast, you can message those people. You can, just like you reach out to me, and you can reach out to those people on Coast to Coast. Either them or their publicists. Go to their website, go to their Instagram. I had Busy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony on. So the Coast to Coast thing for me in my podcast, really going to that next level, was as a truck driver, I was listening to hours and hours and hours of podcasts, and mostly Coast to Coast AM, because a lot of times their full episodes will be 4 hours, and you're knocking out a lot of time. I'd listen to 2 or 3 episodes, 4-hour episodes back to back, because I was in a truck all day, and I would write down notes, or they would have an amazing guest on, and he would ask them a question, and they would lean into something, but then they changed the subject. I'm like, wait, you got to ask them more. I want to go deeper into what does that mean? What did that look like? What did the angel say? What color was its robes? And I'm asking those things because I'm having experiences too, and I'm listening, and I genuinely want to learn, and I'm saying what I would ask them. So I'm writing down questions and stuff, and then I email them, hey, can you come on my show? I have a podcast, and the people who I heard on Coast to Coast say, yeah, I'll come on. So these people that I get to interview them. So I say, I heard you on Coast to Coast AM, and these angels appeared to you. What did they look like? And maybe they didn't say that but everybody's thinking. And then I start getting emails from people, and they're saying, man, you asked the best questions. Everything that we're thinking, you ask. When it's like on Coast to Coast or something, you're thinking the question and they don't ask it. They just keep going. It's like, hold on, wait, you got to go deeper into that. Let us learn more. So I linger on subjects, and somebody would just say something, bypass it nonchalantly. Yeah, I got spiritual when I was a little kid. Okay, what happened when you were a kid? And you just go deeper and deeper and deeper into it. Well, I seen a UFO. And when I seen it, it just changed everything for me. It just made me believe that we're not alone. And that one experience birthed what I'm doing, 20, 30 years later for any of those people. So that's the cool thing. Again, everything comes full circle of listening to Coast myself, taking notes, emailing those people. And I genuinely want to know, hey, when you meditate, what is the best practices? What are your best techniques? Well, when I meditate, I do this, and I'm writing it down because I want to meditate with you. Like I want to do those techniques, So, yeah, man, that's how I did it early on. My podcast has allowed me to be able to talk to some really cool people, and whether it's people I've looked up to and I've wanted to talk to, and some pretty big name people have been on my show, but even some small people that you guys have never even heard of, which have been some of the best episodes. And so I just want to encourage you that you can brand yourself. You can create and do anything that you want to do, and but consistency is key. You got to be consistent. You got to keep showing up.
Can you tell me now, you're a Christian, yeah?
Yeah.
How that compares with all those channeling and all the other spirit realms, how that joins together? Because normally Christians would discard, like I said, channeling or anything like that,
yeah. I guess for me, I just try to find similarities with people. I really don't care about your modality, or who you said you got the information from. I care about the information, and the fruit of it, what it produces, and so what are these channels saying to you, and so a lot of it resonates with my beliefs, with my faith in Jesus and similar things to what he said, to love one another, to meditate, take care of yourself, and do your own spiritual work, and really be what some in that world will call the ascension, and ascending, or spiritual alchemy. I named the album about that, just transforming spiritually. And so I'm really big on just what comes out of it versus your modality, your method. I'm a critic of a lot of this stuff, even my own stuff, and questioning myself and questioning, who you're getting this information from, kind of stuff. Like, did you get this information from, people say they're channeling it. I don't know that you are. Like, there could be you could just feel this way deep down in your soul. You're just scared to say it, and the only way that you'll say it and speak your truth is if you blame it. You have something to fall back on. Christians do that for God, or say Jesus told me to tell you, or God says this. I don't feel this way. God feels this way, or I don't feel this way. The archons or whoever you're channeling feel this way, and this is their message and what they would tell you. So, and I like it all, whatever it takes for you to get in that state and speak your truth and the epiphanies of it. And it's my heart to be in the midst of those people too. Those are people who are asking bigger questions. Those are people who are seeking truth, and they're ready. They are looking for the beauty and things, and they're not just, most religious Christians are just closed off. They're not open to new ideas. They're not, they don't play well with others. If you're not like them, you can't be one of them or be a friend of them and stuff like that. So the people that I feel like I'm called to are in those realms doing those things. And so what I do is I just place myself in the middle of them, and I am one of them. You know what I'm saying? I say them, I am them. I'm no different. I don't, I'm no better, and they're no better, whether it's you're Christian or whatever. So there's some interesting stuff in the Bible. There is some interesting stuff on channeling and the life force of God and the Holy Spirit and being inspired, and where does that come from? Is it God? Is it an angel that's speaking through you? Like, I don't know, and I call BS on a lot of it, but I'm into a lot of it too, because it's mystical and we can't explain it. I think if you can explain it away like we've tried to do, you're taking away a lot of the mystique, and it loses its power, because a lot of it's shrouded in the darkness of the mystique, and I love it.
What would you say about religion and spirituality being a consequence of basically drug abuse by like our ancestors? Because that's what they say, that we were just eating mushrooms,
Okay.
and that's why we evolved. That's why our brains evolved.
Mushrooms and ayahuasca and peyote and you name it, marijuana, like alcohol. I know psychics who get wasted on alcohol and predict the future, and people book sessions with them. They don't know that they're drunk on the other side of a screen, but they get wasted, and it lets them get past that veil, this veil of the ego. The ego says, no, you're not a psychic. You can't even take care of yourself. How are you going to help these people and be a psychic or a healer or whatever it is? So we have to get past this, whatever it is this veil. And so people would use drugs to do that, to loosen up or to access different realms that they weren't privy to, or at least they thought they wasn't privy to, without the use of those drugs. So but as far as antiquity and where religion comes from, there's a lot of indicators that a lot of religion had some signs of psychedelic use and plant medicines and stuff like that. Now, do I credit everything to it? Nah. But religion is just people having an encounter, whether it was with the mushroom or whether it was with an angel, or the Apostle Paul, who has an encounter with Jesus on the road to Damascus. Jesus shows up in the form of light and blinds him and knocks him off his horse, and he was blind for days or weeks or whatever it was, and it changed his life forever. So he has this encounter with this being, this angelic being that he believes is Jesus, and he goes on to formulate the New Testament and to go out and carry a similar message that Jesus carried. And so same thing with, the Book of Mormon and the, Quran and many other religions that have come from an encounter with a being or an encounter with a mushroom or something that people say get you in contact with beings. The mushrooms get you in contact with star beings or the golden teachers or your ancestral DNA that's teaching you through the mushroom or through your own DNA or whatever. So there's a connection for sure, but I think they're all, again, shrouded in that mystery and that mystique of the unknown. And the beautiful thing that I like from religion, with all religions, is that they still keep a piece of that mystery, but not all the denominations or sects of them. There's certain sects of Judaism that they just reject all notions of angels, demons, the spirit world, or anything like that. Same thing with the Muslim faith, and I'm sure for Hindus, for Christians, they're not really Native Americans. They're closed off to that, but there's other, groups of them that really embrace that spiritual identity and their ancestral, like the origins of an encounter with a being and how we can continue to encounter the being that in Christianity we call Jesus. Like, we get to keep talking to him. Paul had a talk with him, knocked him off his horse, changed his life. We get to summon him. Hey, will you show up? Those kind of things. So, all religions are very similar in that way of trying to have an encounter, and then you write a tutorial on how to repeat it or to continue it. And that's all religions are. Now, whether that was inspired by, mushroom cults or, an angel that came down to you, or these people just made this stuff up and it became reality for other people out of their imagination. And they believed, and they convinced somebody enough that they started practicing it and created it for themselves, to where those beings showed up. Something that you made up. It's a farce. I can tell you, I proved it. I made all of this up. But for someone else, they're encountering and engaging, and they're seeing spiritual significance, but also in the physical realm, things are happening and moving, and the paranormal and things, So I love that. That's what I love. And the easiest for me, not the easiest, the most beautiful, the most simplistic is, the story of Jesus and God, became a man and reached out to us and loves us and gives us grace when we mess up, and he loves us so much more than we could ever love ourselves, and we can hang out with that being. That's what I want to hang out with. Remember, I was trying to hang out with demons, trying to summon demons, and they want to kill you. Like, they want to take over your body because they had a body, but they don't anymore. But they want to trick you and, hey, can I come live in your body? Those kind of, the war of the gods, the idea of who it is that you're trying to contact. And so I think for me, Christianity is very pure, at least in its conception. Not even Christianity, let's just say Jesus, and that what he had and what he did and his disciples did. So that affected my life when I heard that story. It still does. When I hear about the beauty and hear somebody describe it, I just begin to cry. It affects me down in a soul level. No other story does that. No other story. It's something about that. Even if you want to call it the hero's journey and the God that became a man, and then the people rejected him and those kind of things. I don't know, but I know that there's something that resonates deep within the core of all humans. That is something very similar,
I was taken to a place where the stars aligned. I looked behind the veil and touched the divine. The 7 stars, they shine in the hand of the Son of Man. In the night sky so fly, now we redeem the time with our eyes closed. Suppose he knows, he will show the secrets hidden within the cosmos. So close, yet so far. What I saw, what I seen in a dream, in a trance, when I glanced at the King so supreme. Revelations 1:16.
So I felt that I couldn't tell you about Jesus. I can't tell you about Jesus, but I feel I could introduce you to Jesus inside your own heart.
Difficult rest of Gideon, marching to Meridian, traveling toward Armageddon, my squad like Gideon. Walking the vine in the light, I'm here one with the inner Christ. We remain man to the sacrifice. Death to the old second life. I will embrace my 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 second life.
What would you say about the version that religion it comes from other visitors from other planets visiting Earth?
Yeah, I mean, something very similar. I talk about this a lot. The work of Dr. Michael Heiser. For me, he attacks the work of Zecharia Sitchin, which says we're seeded here from aliens or Anunnaki to be slaves, to mine gold and to get resources for them and those kind of things. Obviously, there's something very similar to that's going on as far as we're slaves to a higher a higher source, an elite source. And I think that the work of David Icke and Jordan Maxwell have kind of proven a lot of these things, and just seeing where we are now. We won't even say the words, but what's going on in the world now and the type of control that these people have. Something's going on, and it's always been going on. But where did we come from? I don't think that we were put here to be slaves. But I do think that there are guardians. We'll call them gods or angels, and they have roles and duties, and they are governing mankind. They're governing mankind, and they can't interfere. We're on our own process. Some people would say we're an experiment. They're watching over us to make sure that we don't totally destroy ourselves. I do believe that. But they don't really interfere too much. They watch from a distance, and some people call them aliens, we'll call them angels, we'll call them gods, whatever you want. But I think that they are from a divine creator. I think that now we could have been seated here, that the Elohim could have, I would call them the El or the Elohim, come here and seated mankind, or had some type of interaction with our DNA or our early primitive years. And they've been watching over us ever since, cloaked in the skies, cloaked in the clouds, and in volcanoes, and even in other dimensions that are even in this realm that they can hop in and out of. And I think they're good guys, though. I think that they're our friends. I think that they want us to win. I think that they're rooting for us, and that there's a level of ascension, like you said, a level of Christ consciousness that we must attain to take our seat amongst the stars. And I think Jesus did it. He was able to ascend into the heavens, and there is a level of integrity, a level of spiritual evolution that I believe that you must attain before you take your place amongst the stars. We're not welcome up there right now.
Awaken divine, inner light. I'm here one with the inner Christ. We the remains of the sacrifice. Death to the old second life. I will embrace my 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 second life.
How do you get welcomed up there and take your place amongst the stars? You have to be christened with that Christ light. The light that's within you has to be greater than the darkness that's within you. And you hear people like David Wilcox say stuff like 51%. It only takes 51% of you to be good, and the other 49% or whatever could be bad. But 51%, when you make it, you're more good than you are evil. Like, that is ascension, like those levels. And obviously we strive for more than 51%, but 51% of you, and then 51% of our planet, where we're taking tests individually from God, from a spirit, from source. There's tests in our lives that we go through. He knows our thoughts, knows what we're thinking, knows what we're doing. Our life is scripted, but it's interactive. And we're going through that stuff by ourselves, but we're also going through that as a collective. All of humanity is going through the ascension process. So when you say yes, it's the micro and the macro. It's in a sense a hive mind, a global brain, as we all say yes, as we all step in and choose love over hate. We look at those masters, Buddha, Krishna, Jesus, and these guys, Melchizedek, Abraham, like these patriarchs, they chose love over hate. They was able to ascend and lead that. They became a messiah for their people, to carry the sins and the weight of the people upon their back and show them what could be done. And so I do champion that work. And I think that that those aliens or those beings, whatever you want to call them, they're watching over us, but they don't interact as much. I've got them to interact a few times. If you ask them, sometimes I think they'll show up. If you know, and when you wake up in the simulation, if you wake up in the matrix and you're lucid in the dream, I think that there's things that become privy to you, such as magic, such as the law of manifestation, and learning universal laws and things like that govern the universe, and you are privy, like, okay, this is truth. These things are truth. That, you know, I'm going to be met with the same thing that I give, the cause and reaction. Like whatever I put out is coming back to me. So let me put out good stuff. Let me help as many people as I can. Not in a selfish way. I'm only doing it because it's coming back, but it's just how the law works. The more that whatever you put out comes back. So helping others is helping ourselves. And so there's many people echoing similar theories and beliefs, but I'm sold for sure on that.
Bliss to the sacred tones, geometric patterns into the microphone. I explode, my mind unfolds. Healing vibrations are transmitted throughout the atmosphere. I'm living as God sees, fully living, my mind is clear. Before I break the mold and I take control, what's lost returns to the soul. I was bought, so I never be sold. My price, I'ma take it in gold. Lukewarm and cold, once days of the old, I will never go back to a life once known. Receive your graces, I confess. Made peace for my past and took my stress. It daily consumes, living daily confused, and I refuse to play the fool. I will never lose as I pursue the things of God, the things of Saul. And I never wanna leave the embrace of your presence. Cocky depression, change my essence. I feel your love, glory divine. Change my vibe when the spirit arrives. To the day that I walk sanctified, you touch my mind and made faith alive. So we are the branches, you are divine. When I seek the light, I will surely find. I will stand in the fight, I will never hide, because now is the hour that truth divides. Awaken divine, in the light, I'm here one with the inner Christ. We remain to the sacrifice, death to the old second life. I will embrace my 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 second life. Awaken divine, inner light. I'm here one with the inner Christ. We remain to the sacrifice, death to the old second life. I will embrace my 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 second life.
Is only by way of direct experience, not just talking about. If it is outside of us, then you're going to have to do something extraordinary to reach it.
And what would be the best proof for you that you came across that, you know, Jesus is real? And we know the demons exist, but now what's the proof for Jesus' existence?
So for Jesus or for good stuff, you know, if when we're understanding polarities, like that's in everything, with every belief system, with every idiom, with every truth that you read in the Bible, with every truth that you read in the Quran, everything, you know, the law of polarities is universal law. So for something to exist at the bottom of the pit of something negative and disgusting, there has to be an opposite of that on the top of the spectrum, something that is beautiful and love and light. If we're talking demons, right, with these creatures that are sludge and that they hang out in the alleys and cracks and at the bottom of the pit and the bottom of the barrel, it's muck. There has to be something that is beautiful, heavenly. It's lighter, it's more dense, it's able to travel and go faster, because the lower stuff is heavier, it's dense like humans. So you have to understand that for everything. So for the light and the dark. So if the darkness became real, because for sure darkness became real in my life before anything heavenly or anything beautiful. It was how dark and ugly the world is. And many people, that's their first thing, how bad society is, how bad you know, sex trafficking and raping and just all the bad things that happen to people, and victim mentality and traumas and things that happen, for sure. So we have to kind of wade through that, the trauma and the deep and the dark stuff, to see what is beautiful. So I think that we go through that stuff as an alchemical process to be able to know what darkness looks like, to be able to know what light looks like. So there's a contrast there that happens. So the proof that these things are real, it's interesting. So to show other people, it's hard to say, because I can't snap my fingers. There's different proofs, again, as far as for me, why I believe and why I'm sold, and when I was at my lowest and what happened, you know, when I asked for help from Jesus. I didn't ask help from Buddha. I didn't ask help from Krishna or Muhammad. Maybe if I did, maybe they would have came and helped me. I don't know, but that's not my story. So my experience and my foot into this is through Jesus. It's very simple, and it's very elementary. It's for everybody. You know, a lot of stuff for enlightenment and next level stuff and ascension. Like, you got to be deep. You got to go to school. You got to study. You got to be initiated into the mysteries. You have to keep an oath. You got to be a Mason. You got to do all kind of stuff. But the difference about the story of the gospel is that he made it available for everyone. The stuff that was hidden in the mysteries now became revealed to each and every person. And now you're initiated into this school without even having to even talk to anybody. You're like in this universal mystery school, as we would call it. So that belief, right? And I also haven't talked about proof, but what does that mean for me? So I'm giving you the frame of it. When I pray, when I connect with a higher power, for me, it's Jesus, right? And it works for me, and it's real for me. It's easy. It's an instant relief. It's an instant release. It's how loved I am and connected I am. I don't have to do nothing. I don't have to go buy anything. I don't have to whip up a concoction and make up a spell and go buy a certain crystal. We get to do those things. Those things are fun, but I don't have to. I can pray no matter where I am and connect with all of creation, really, but with my Father, God, who is the source of all creation.
Hearing the voices of the Elo, as I lay my head up on my pillow. My present, my future is past. Holding on, but I'm losing grasp. I will escape this place to the dream state. Hold tight to the vibe while I meditate. Knowledge I'm receiving is permeating my being. These gifts are given freely. My life, it has a new meaning. I'm creating with every breath. I'm concentrating on my breathing. Feel the prana as I honor. I'm traveling while I'm dreaming. The gift of breath of Yah. These words, they are my weapons. So I speak as an oracle of God, the power of my suggestion. I interdimensional shift, leave a reality trip. I will never plead the fifth, I'm out of your realm of consciousness. I feel your love, glory divine, change my vibe when the spirit arrives. To the day that I walk sanctified, you touch my mind and make faith alive. So we are the branches, you are divine. When I seek the light, I will surely find. I will stand in the fight, I will never hide, because now is the hour that truth divides. Awaken divine, inner light, I'm here one with the inner Christ. We remain to the sacrifice, death to the old second life. I will embrace my 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 second life.
So I know what that means for me, and I'm not the only one. Now, if you're talking about, physical proof as far as like, did he really exist and those kind of things, is he, there's, you have to follow that rabbit hole, and see what proof do you need? Because everybody needs something different. The only proof I needed was when I was at my lowest, you were there for me. You showed up when I needed a friend, when I didn't love myself, you loved me, and really like speaks to me, to my heart, and is a friend, but I can't say, here he is, but I can say, here he is, because he lives inside of me. He changed me, and my life that has been changed and has been, used as a vessel and a tool of love and trying to help people. That is the proof that his message, that his spirit is still here with us, and it continues to use us and shape us and mold us and convict us and make us better. Like this ascension, if you do bad, you start doing bad stuff or getting off the track, it starts like kind of helping. Hey man, why are you doing that? Like literally, there's this conversation with God that is always there for the believer, and where he worked with our conscious, our heart. So it's the proof of what you need. Other people may believe when they find, there's a lot of people trying to find Noah's Ark, and if they find Noah's Ark, that's the proof. We just gotta find Noah's Ark. We just have to find the Ark of the Covenant. We have to find the papers that said his birth record. They want to find whatever, and then they'll believe. I don't know. The only proof I need is a life that was been transformed, and it's not just me. There's many other people. Now, for the mystical and stuff, that for me, that gets into the mystical, and being able to pray and being able to have visions and being able to communicate and ask questions and put it out there in the universe, and God answers them and lines things up in your life so that synchronicities do happen, so that it's a mystical experience. And so the as far as physical proof that I've had in my life that has wrecked me. You know, it's only been a couple, but in and out of that, there's been many small ones, but there's a few big ones. And it started with evil, man. You know, it started, at least maybe, let's just say it started with what I thought was evil. I'll say that. I shouldn't even, I don't even like to judge beings and demons and all that kind of stuff. They have a purpose. They served a purpose in my life. And I'm thankful that I ran into all of that stuff that I did. But when I was 4, woke up in the middle of the night being pinned in my bed by these 2 entities and sleep paralysis, but they were physical, like black creatures on me, holding me down, and I'm looking like this, and I'm a kid, a little, I don't know, have any context for this or anything, and that birthed something in me as at 4. So at 10, when we're watching those movies and I see something similar, or a monster in the corner, or a shadow run down the hall, I'm reminded of a shadow that was pinning me down. So there's that lit something in me, of something that crossed over into our realm. I'm big into that, by the way. When that's, we cross over into that realm all the time, meditation and all kind of stuff. But when that realm crosses over into our reality, that's what the paranormal and those kind of things really paint that picture. So when I was 4, that happened. When I met that warlock, I didn't, and you probably heard the story, but I stole something from him, and he did a summoning spell on his belongings, and he summoned an elemental spirit, a spirit that was formed out of black smoke and turned into an entity that physically appeared in front of me and my cousin and came to torment us and knocked us down. And like that, hey, this is real. We're cooking with Crisco now, you know. So something, I don't just now, you know, what is it? How do we do it? That's what I want to learn. How do I do that, man? I want to do what he did to me. But there was a lot of bad stuff. That's when I ended up getting possessed and getting sick and all that, was when I encountered that being. But that was when something stepped into my reality. You can't take that from me. You know, I know it's hard to believe or whatever, because, you know, we weren't there. We don't have pictures, or I don't know how to recreate it. But that was another one. And then, you know, my encounters with those beings that were pulling me in the realms, that was darkness. And I've had many mystical dreams and many prophetic signs and symbols and things like that that really tie a lot of that stuff together too.
Spirit, vibration, thought pattern. We exist in the midst of the dark matter. 7 chakras aligned from a Jacob's ladder. Hebrew Saturdays of the god Saturn. Demons and devils and imps, oh my. Running amok in the midst of the mind. See new sight with the mystical eye. Revelation, signs of times. Angels, aliens, contact the Palladians. Fly through the blue sky with the avians. Humanoid beings, shining and radiant. Winged teams watch over Homo sapiens. Kabbalistic, mystic, move physics. Esoteric, linguistics, so pay attention. 6-6 intuition, just listen. Essence of the message, cryptic. The secret doctrine, Helena Blavatsky. Well studied esoteric philosophy. I'm a member of the Esophageal Society. ISIS unveiled the key to theosophy. Blasphemous, Jordanus, Maximus. Learn from experience, faith like Lazarus. Spirit led, I'm a shaman, an activist. Touch the divine, you see the miraculous. Combat with the tactics, gets tragic. Simon Peter against Simon Magnus. Spiritual, ethereal, or chemical magic. Broad road is the way of the masses. Smoke is risen and felt. Where the oracle of Delphi dwelt. We are under the reverence spells in the land of the Bible belt. Yeah.
But the UFO stuff's been big for me too. They're going out under the field in the night sky, asking, almost begging for an encounter, for a sighting. And eventually, like in the other way, eventually they started showing up.
Even though what I'm doing with CE5 is what I'm most ridiculed for, it was the project that got the most respect and attention from the intelligence community, because they knew it was real. They knew the science of consciousness is real. They knew that these ET civilizations utilize communication technologies that interface with thought and telepathy and consciousness. They all know this. This is an open secret in the intelligence community.
And I began to communicate with them telepathically. They would send like thoughts to you and make you feel a certain way. There was creativity. All of that music came out of, you know, those of how real these beings were, and God is, and all of that. So whatever inspiration that you get out of my music or what I bring to the table, it is birthed out of a supernatural life, not just one encounter, but many. So, but when that's for me, and some of that stuff you can recreate it. Like, you can come on a retreat with us. We can go out into the field and we can at least try. I can't guarantee anything, but I think if our expectation, if we want it bad enough, like, we can go out and they'll show up. They'll show up. We've been doing it, and in the retreat that you've seen on my page, like, we're gonna do it again. We go out and we do other spiritual stuff, Kundalini yoga, breath work, cacao ceremony. We do a lot of really cool stuff. But at night we go out and we try to make contact, and so I think that they meet the expectancy of the people. So for me, that's a big one.
Reading the rooms of the druids, into knowledge of which I'm a student. Speaking in tongues fluent, uncover hidden knowledge hidden under the ruins. Self-medicated, I was contemplating psilocybin. I know they hate it, but Mother Nature prescribed it. Look within while meditating in silence. Step into the inner core, enter through the iris. Shine bright like a diamond. Give a sight to the blind man. On the wings of an ego, in the wisdom of rhyming. On the road to discovery, all the truth that I'm finding. I walk wherever he goes. I'm a mystical shaman. I'm finding the heavens, I'm loose in the truth. My strong as an ox, breaking locks uproot. Intelligent kinda, I judge by the fruit. See the change of my walk in my life, living proof.
When you ask for it and it happens, and they're like, hey, we're here, don't worry. And they're reading your mind, they're reading your thoughts, they're sending thoughts back to you, and it's all been good. Beautiful stuff, beautiful messages. Take care of your body, you're gonna be okay, we're gonna get through this. A lot of encouraging things. So for me, those are just a few things. I've seen fairies. Me and my daughter had fairies come out of the trees and fly around us. These fluorescent blue, I don't know what they were, balls of light. And they just came and flew around us. The weird thing is when, now, and if you read my book, I got a bunch more. We got all these crazy encounters. It's normal for me now. But there's people who have never experienced any of that. That's the interesting thing. So I think that our belief helps us to tap into those realms. And a lot of times we think seeing is believing, but we're finding out that believing is seeing. That if you can believe it, even if you make it up, and if you will it to happen strong enough, whatever realm of infinite possibilities that exists, there's a realm of infinite possibilities where every creature that you can fathom in your mind is real. Every being, every angel, every demon, every version of yourself that you can meet. That's where channeling comes in. You're pulling this information from a realm of infinite possibilities that you enter and engage with through the pineal gland in the third eye.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
Get lost in the ether when I speak of mystery, someone in a dream of. From the mouth of the reader, mind of the seeker, the childlike faith in a believer. Do you want to take it to another level? The weight of the heart, weight against a tiny feather. Hidden motives never journey together. The light of the body's the eye, however. I open mind in the room, I'm special. I am not alone, we are celestial. Walk a fine line as we dance with the devil. The reaper will shovel the dust as it settles. I will ascend to the heights as my master descends to the earth in the form of disaster. Once formless and void, now covered with cancer. The second Adam is the only answer. Bow down to the almighty power. Tick tock, count down, find an hour. Stand and fight, never run, never cower. Bow ass, shot chain, fall like the towers.
In the 1950s, there was a famous UFO case where a woman who claimed she was in contact with UFOs taught a colonel in the CIA how to be in contact with the same group of saucers. And he was demonstrating this ability for a group of his superiors in a room in the Pentagon. And he asked for a demonstration. He was communicating with them through automatic writing, and they said, go to the window and look out. And they all went to the window and looked out, and there was a brilliant golden disk of light cruising past the Pentagon, and they went berserk, called the nearby Air Force Base to see what was on the scopes. The radar had just gone out in this sector, etc., etc. But what was, to tie it in with my point, these messages that this guy was getting on this Ouija board were signed AFFA, AFA, which any scholar of Enochian can tell you is the Enochian word for nothingness, friends.
So basically we can say, in your opinion, that the bad and dark and all the bad is the proof for good. That basically that's our proof. Just look around how many bad things around on the earth is happening. That's the real proof that there has to be God, there has to be better, there has to be light, you know. So very nice. And with the encounters, I think we have to give a shout out to Stephen Greer, because he's big into that meditation and inviting all the ships and everything.
We do his one of his CE5 meditations at our retreat. After we do all our stuff, we lay down, we do his CE5 before we go out. Yeah.
It's because the Pentagon was about to pull his security clearances. And it wasn't because he was doing things with TTSA, that they wanted him to do that. It was because he had resigned from TTSA, fallen out with the people that were the hardliners, wanting him to present that there was an alien threat or a threat to the national security. And he has told two people on my team, including attorney Daniel Sheehan, that he knows, and the other people like Chris Mellon know, that there is no such thing as an alien threat, that there is not a threat to the national security, but that's the only way they can get this in front of the American people to get more overt funding for the Space Force and eventually a conflict with these extraterrestrial civilizations. He has flat out said he knows that everything he's been saying about this being a threat is untrue. Now, Daniel Sheehan has also shared, and this is even more explosive, that Luis Elizondo has informed him that he, in fact, has been in a facility where an actual extraterrestrial vehicle was stored. Now, why is that important? Because he's all over the news, 60 Minutes, every mainstream news channel, along with his other cohorts in the cover-up, such as Leslie Keane, Nick Pope, Chris Mellon, and others, saying that we don't know what these are. Now, interestingly, he absolutely knows that some of these craft are in fact of extraterrestrial origin. He must also then know that some of them are ours. For example, the recent Jeremy Corbell interview on Fox News, where they were showing these triangles of swarming, menacing our Navy ships. Every one of those pyramid triangular shaped objects with flashing light on them are from either Northrop Grumman or Boeing or the Lockheed, most likely Northrop Grumman. Those are man-made UFOs. They're anti-gravity vehicles. Everyone in the aerospace industry at any level of clearance knows this.
I think we touched on everything, you know, so it was a real pleasure to have you. If you want to talk something else, you can, you know, if you know, I can be here all night with you, you know. But,
yeah, no, thanks for having me, man. I enjoy talking about this stuff and connecting with people and, you know, getting to meet you. And thanks for being a fan. Thanks for listening to the music and allowing my experiences to inspire you to go out and you do the same, to start your own podcast and your own talk and cover these subjects and inspire other people. And a little goes a long way. We don't know that, but, you know, just inspiring one person, and that one person reaches another person who reaches thousands, and the next person reaches hundreds of millions because of something you said or something that you did. I really believe that. That's why I like the symbol of the flower of life, all the circles within one another, and they're all touching and they're all part of the same resonance and body. And if you touch one, you've touched them all. And so you know, we have ripples in this, you know, and every good deed and every negative deed too. So, you know, we can trace that back of your years of drinking and doing stupid things or whatever. You influence people even not knowingly. But now that we're conscious and we're awake, that we know that we can inspire people to do good and to dream again and to love and to choose love over hatred and move the planet to 51%. I think we're getting close if we're not already there, and that's why all this stuff's happening right now.
Feeling like Enoch, reflecting in meditation, chilling in the treetops with the Ewok, connecting in constellation. Magical mystery, prophecy, energy filling me. There is no stopping me. Dopamine levels are sync with astrology. Planet is shifting like beings are calling me. Teaching in patterns of sacred geometry. Angels and demons have taught me theology. Speaking in rhythms of secret psychology. Honest, sometimes it just constantly bothers me. In the bed I lay in a trance state, summoning the voice in my head when I sleep and not only awake from a dream in a state subconsciously place of bliss through the gates of harmony.
Because honestly, at the end of the day, like, you're not promised tomorrow. And once I understood that I'm not promised tomorrow, so I'm gonna enjoy today. This breath that I have, take a deep breath. You're not promised another one, you know? And so to be mindful of that moment. Somebody, you know, there's many ways that you can die. And I should have been dead a long time ago. And I made it out. So I'm grateful just to be here and to experience life on this side of eternity. I think this is unique, man. I think this incarnation is unique. We, you know, and even reincarnation, and you get to come back, and don't worry, we were here before, we're coming back again. Like, I don't know. I kind of think when you go take a deep, you know, 5 grams of mushroom or more, ayahuasca, where you go is not like this. You know, there's symbols, there's cogs, there's spirits, there's essence, you know, there's a lot of weird stuff. I don't think that there's matter. I don't think that things are slowed down like it is in this realm. This realm is unique to this existence, I think, and it's special. And so to enjoy it while we're here, because it's short.
3:33 a.m. awaken when things go bump in the night, and I'm taken to foreign places, raptured up by your golden light. But my only fear is just falling. After all, I'm afraid of fight telepathically to keep telling me that everything is gonna be alright. Infatuated by the conversation, no time was wasted at a gate inside. Indoctrinated from the information with an aspiration to attain new life. Return to the essence, knowledge, and it's a state of nirvana, no different equivalents. Up the Orion, the source I'm serious, chilling with Ethereans on a mushroom experience. I'm a spiritual indigo, lyrical, mythical, mystical, performing the ritual. Psilocybin's where I've been vibing inside to a closed eye visual. Open your mind, 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 open the sky, open your mind, open your mind, open your mind.
It is short. It is over in a blink, and you're gone. You're old. You're an old man. You've lived your life, and time isn't waiting on us. And so I just want to make sure, like, if I do, you know, if there is an afterlife and we get to the other side and we're questioned about our journey, and listen, man, I enjoyed it. I'm thankful that I got to go. I enjoyed my trip. I tried to, once I woke up and understood, you know, how much impact I have, or how much impact my words have. I understood the law, you know, universal law and those things. Like, I tried to change this place. I tried to leave it a little bit better than how I found it. And obviously, like, if everyone did that, that's not 51%, that's 100%. If we all did that, just a little bit better. We're not talking about you got to be a Gandhi or a spiritual guru or whatever. Just leave it a little bit better. And that could be as small as picking up, you know, trash and litter on the side of the road because somebody else threw it up, you know, threw it out the window. Whatever it is, people are passionate about different things, and all of those things matter. But I think in enjoying it while we're here. And yeah, don't be a slave, don't be a pushover. Don't let, you know, spirituality and those things be like escapism, or, you know, take your power away and give your power away, because we get accused of that a lot, you know. But honestly, in the end, I do believe in some type of intervention. I just do. You know, I don't want to wait for it. I want to do what I can. But what is that? It's doing what I'm doing. For some people, they think it's run for office. Some people, they think it's vote. The power is in my vote. You know, everybody's different. But I do think, I do know the only person that I can change is myself. I can inspire other people, but they get uninspired really quick too.
All right. Pleasure, man. Really pleasure.
All right, brother. Have a good night, man. Shalom, shalom.
You will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, and in all Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. Go into the world and preach the gospel to all creation.